Hokage get burning art at the start, Chapter 381 to 400. Chapter 381 23 Different Fire Pagodas. So, Orochimaru and the others were flattered when they saw Kazama's arrival, and were very happy. Now Kazama really doesn't have time to chat with Orochimaru and the others. After all, Kazama now knew that his top priority was to inform Orochimaru and the others as soon as possible. Stop the attack of the Shell organization. So Kazama immediately told Orochimaru the ins and outs of the matter. At this time, Orochimaru heard Kazama's words, and immediately nodded at Kazama with a smile. I said, the leader of the wind, you don't have to worry so much now. Oh, what do you mean by that? Saw Orochimaru and heard his words, he laughed instead of anger, and he didn't even feel nervous at all. This suddenly made the wind in the heart of doubts. After all, he knew the strength of his Audiobook village, but he couldn't compare to the ninja villages of the 5 great countries. But why is this Orochimaru, the temporary leader of Audiobook village, so relaxed now? Hehe, it's very simple. You may have been away for too long, the leader of the wind, so you may not be very clear. Today, the overall strength of our Audiobook village has already risen, and it is more than the sum of the ninja villages of the 5 countries. The strength is even more awesome and powerful. Quote. What? Is this true? Hehe, of course. How could I lie to you? Hearing Kazama seemed a little unconvinced, Orochimaru immediately waved his hand. His Audiobook village over. At this time, these old faces who had surrendered to the wind, and heard that the wind had returned, they all came here in a swarm. Kimimaro, Akatsuki members. And the stronger and more powerful Otsutsuki Kagaya. At this time, Kagaya never expected that even Otsutsuki Kagaya was willing to join his Audiobook village. This naturally made the wind in the heart very happy. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya immediately came to Kagaya with a smile. I said Fengjan, you are my savior, so I am here to join your camp and contribute to your village. Besides, I also need your Audiobook village and your strength to help me resist the Otsutsuki trio. After all, you are the only one on this earth that has this ability, so I hope to fight side by side with you. Okay, of course this is fine. Seeing that the powerful Otsutsuki Kagaya was willing to help himself, Kagaya nodded happily. After all, in this world today, only Datongmu Kagaya has the same 9 Tomosamsara Sharingan as himself. Then with the cooperation of the two of them, you can combine the 2 swords, and Moko is boundless. And this time, in addition to these famous ninjas, the strength of the younger generation born and raised in Audiobook village is also not to be underestimated. After all, their Audiobook village has 10 different fire pagodas. And each has its own abilities, so that these ninjas have also been rapidly improved. And at this time, Fengjan saw that the effect of the different fire pagoda that he left behind was actually so big, so powerful and so powerful. Fengyan's heart is naturally also very happy. I said little brother Fengjan, although these different fire pagodas you left are very powerful, but you also know that the resources of the different fires inside are very limited, and now the flames of these different fires are getting smaller and smaller, and their abilities getting weaker and weaker. What to do with this? At this time, Orochimaru also hurriedly said into the wind again. Chapter 382 Shell tissue is garbage. Hehe, don't worry. Heard Orochimaru's words, Kazama nodded with a smile. Then a face-to-face effort, Fengjan injected the original fire in his body into the 10 pagodas. Relight those originally decayed flames. Orochimaru and the others were naturally delighted when they saw it. Because of these strange fires, they can speed up their cultivation in earnest. And at this time, he didn't wait for Orochimaru and the others to react. Kazama immediately performed the Doden, Earth-style technique, followed by a face-to-face effort. 13 pagodas were added again. Now Fengjan just waved his hand gently, and he injected the other 13 kinds of different fires in his body into the newly built 13 pagodas. Although the previous 10 pagodas have been able to greatly improve the strength of the people in Audiobook village, But in the wind, there is no better, only better. So Kazama thought that since his own strange fire is so powerful, then, this different fire pagoda is naturally the more the better. At this time, with the formation of the 23 pagodas, the strength of Odogakur village is naturally even more powerful and even more powerful. There are naturally more ninjas who come here. That Orochimaru originally thought that with Kazama's current strength, he could become the signboard of this Odogakur village, which made him very happy. But he didn't expect that now Fengjian came back and brought him so many gifts. This naturally made Orochimaru happy. But Orochimaru also knew that the village of Odogakur was originally owned by Kazama. Then Kazama must do his best for the village of Odogakur, which is something that Orochimaru knows very well. And at this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya also heard that Kazama had defeated the Otsutsuki trio. This naturally made that Otsutsuki Kagaya happy. At this time, even Otsutsuki Kagaya, who has always been bad at boasting, gave Kagaya a thumbs up. I said, little brother Kazama, you really impress me very much. Oh, what's the matter? Kagaya, the so-called god of the ninja world, I praised myself like this. To be honest, the wind was naturally flattered. After all, Kagaya knew that Otsutsuki Kagaya was the ancestor of the ninja world. If there is no Otsutsuki Kagaya, then they cannot master ninjutsu now. Also has great respect for that Otsutsuki Kagaya. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya smiled again and said to the wind, you don't know, the reason why I created so many white Zetsu armies before, to be honest, was because I was worried that the Otsutsuki clan would send people to hunt me down. The Otsutsuki Kinshiki, Otsutsuki Ura style, and Otsutsuki Momoshiki you mentioned are all very powerful, but now one of them was killed by you, one was scared away by you, and the other was conquered by you, so now your strength can be it's really awesome, it's amazing, if you want me to say that even the Otsutsuki family can't be your opponent. Hee, I said you little strays, you really like Wangpo who sells melons and brags. Who is it? How dare our Odogakur village be arrogant and domineering? This is that once Orochimaru saw that someone could knock silently into their Odogakur village. They even mocked Kagaya, the leader of their Odogakur village, and their most powerful foreign aide, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Orochimaru was naturally shocked and angry. Chapter 383 Trapped in a Different Space. Otsutsuki style, you bastard, how dare you use such rude means against me? At this time, when Kazama saw this Otsutsuki style, it was actually the same as that of Otsutsuki Kinshiki's attack. This suddenly made the wind in the heart annoyed. Hee, I tell you the little miscellaneous hair in the wind, don't be unconvinced, you don't care whether the method I use is inappropriate or not. In short, as long as I can defeat you, that's the best method. It turned out that this Otsutsuki Ashiki, when the Otsutsuki trio were fighting against the wind, had already been hidden aside. He just wanted to find the flaws in the wind. But what Otsutsuki did not expect, the flaws in the wind are very hard to find. So this Otsutsuki Ashiki is still after that Otsutsuki Kim, who pulled the wind room into the different space. This shows that Kazama is not very good at space art. Therefore, Otsutsuki Ashiki has only adopted this method now, preparing to temporarily restrain Kazama. After all, Otsutsuki Ashiki also knows that Kazama's strength is very high and powerful. Moreover, the strength of Kazama's subordinates Orochimaru, Nagato and others should not be underestimated. If you say that Kazama and Orochimaru Nagato and the others gathered together, then you will definitely be defeated. That's why Otsutsuki Ashiki separates Kazamajin Orochimaru and others. And now, this space of Otsutsuki Ashiki is even more powerful than the other space of Otsutsuki Kinshiki. So this Otsutsuki Ashiki is now sneering at Kazama. Let me tell you the little girl in the wind, the two of us are originally well water and do not commit river water, but you fucking have to protect the traitor of our Otsutsuki clan, that is, that Otsutsuki Kagaya, then I can only smash you into corpses. Do on, my bones are ashes. Stop giving me the fucking bullshit. At this time, Kazama knew the real trick of this Otsutsuki Ashiki. This Otsutsuki one is ostensibly to bring this Otsutsuki Kagaya to justice. But in fact, Otsutsuki Ashiki wants to replant the divine tree on this earth, which is the body of 10 tails. Then absorb all the chakras of earthlings for their Otsutsuki home to use. And that Fengjan, as an earthling, is so powerful and powerful. How could he allow Otsutsuki to use such despicable methods against his comrades? So Kazama is naturally going to fight against him. And at this time, Otsutsuki Ashiki, seeing Kazama's face-to-face kung fu, exposed his own tricks. This immediately made that Otsutsuki's heart irritated. So Otsutsuki Ashiki rushed to the wind again and said, I tell you Xiaozamao in the wind, you are right, you are indeed very good, very powerful, but it's a pity that no matter how good you are now, it can't be my opponent either. My alternate dimension is even more powerful than that Otsutsuki Kinshiki's alternate dimension. If you don't believe it, then you can experience it for yourself, ha ha ha. At this time, as Otsutsuki said, he disappeared immediately. And at this time, Kazama was puzzled by the words Otsutsuki Ashiki said. Suddenly I found that the 23 kinds of different fires in my body were suddenly out of control, and all of them escaped from my body. Chapter 384 Aliens Resistance. This suddenly surprised Na Feng in his heart. Now the wind has not reacted to what happened. And saw that Yuhi Lotus Karma Fire, Lotus Demon Fire, Void Swallowing Fire, and Emperor Yan, who possessed spiritual wisdom, were all killing him. This Commander Dun was once again taken aback. So Kazama resisted the attacks of these 4 different fires. Said to the 4 fire spirits of different fires, I said, what happened to you fire spirits? You all conquered me before, why are you resisting me now? Hee, what kind of thing are you? You are also worthy of us surrendering to you. At this time, before that Kazama could finish speaking, Yuhi Lianyahuo cursed at Kazama. Let me tell you Fengjan, our strange fires are all born in that day and earth, and they are the essence of heaven and earth. They are not inferior humans like you. Now you dare to let us surrender to you, really whether we can bear it or not. Quote. That's right, we didn't want to pay attention to you because of your ability before, but now we are bound to tear you to pieces and burn your bones to ashes. What? How is this possible? Yuhi Lotus Karma Fire, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, and Wu Wu Yan Emperor Yan, who were willing to surrender to him, fight side by side with him, and obey his own words. Now that he has become so arrogant and domineering, he has become like a stranger, and the wind is immediately shocked. This is not because Fengjan is afraid of them, but because Fengjan is a person who values love and righteousness. Now that these people are treating themselves like this, the room is naturally very painful. However, no matter how painful the wind is in his heart now, he is not that stupefied boy. Now that these strange fires dare to resist themselves, it is naturally impossible for Fengjan to give them a good face. Shinra Tensai Almighty Push in Kazama rushed over, and immediately blasted these strange fires hundreds of meters away. You must know that Kazama now has the power of 10 tails, opening the Sharingan of Samsara. Therefore, even to deal with these 23 kinds of different fires, the scenery is more than enough. And then Kazama cast this Samsara Sharingan. In a face-to-face effort, the disordered chakra was found in the bodies of Yuhi Lotus Karma, Pure Lotus Demon, Void Swallowing Flame, and Di Yan. At this time, Feng Shi realized that the reason why these strange fires resisted him was all because they came to this different dimension with him. Therefore, the chakra in their bodies has changed, which is obviously the trick of that Otsutsuki. It turned out that Otsutsuki knew that Kazama had these awesome fires in his body. Therefore, this Otsutsuki style makes these strange fires kill each other with the wind. At this time, Kazama originally thought that these strange fires really betrayed him, which caused Kazami's heart to be very hurt. Now Kazama sees these strange fires because of the unanimous temptation of that Otsutsuki. Then he had to betray himself as a last resort, and the wind was immediately overjoyed. So Kazama immediately cast his unique demonic illusion of Samsara Sharingan again, Prepare to let these strange fires escape the control of this space. But what the wind didn't expect was that these strange fires are now controlled too firmly. A result, even his own reincarnation Sharingan failed to subdue them seriously. This suddenly shocked the wind in the heart. Chapter 385 You are so cool. At this time, Fengjian immediately rushed to the Fenju system in his body and asked. I said the system, what should I do now? If I really do my best to fight against these 23 kinds of strange fires, then maybe I will win, but I may also use all of these strange fires. It's called nothingness. You must know that these strange fires are my helpers. I don't want to turn against this strange fire and become xenophobic. Hee, don't worry about this host. Once he heard Fengyan's question, the Fenju system said again. Although these strange fires have indeed betrayed you and really want to kill you, but you don't need to fight them with all your strength, but beat them to half-death, and then use my burning system ability, reabsorb them for your own use. At that time, you can not only let these strange fires get rid of the enemy's control, but also conquer these strange fires again. Oh, really? Of course, I am a serious system, and you are my master. How could I lie to you? Okay, if that's the case, then listen to what you have to say. Kazama was naturally overjoyed when he heard the system make such a promise. At this time, in the face-to-face kung fu, Fengjian killed the 4 fire spirits, Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Void Swallowing Fire, and Diyan. At this time, because the 4 fire spirits were controlled by Otsutsuki Ashiki, their minds changed greatly. They didn't take the wind and others into their eyes at all. Therefore, these people have exhausted all their abilities. After a few face-to-face efforts, it was indistinguishable from the wind between the winds. At this time, although the wind room did not have the help of these strange fires. However, with its own strength, the two can still easily hang these strange fires. Shinra Tensai Almighty Push Levy. Bansho Tenon Universal Pull. Rinnegan Coercion. Afterwards, in the few face-to-face moments of Kazama, he used the unique power of his own Samsara Sharingan pupil technique. All these strange fires were sent hundreds of meters away. And at this time, the fire spirits such as Yuhi Lotus Karma Fire, saw that Fengjian was so arrogant, so powerful, and immediately became angry. So he gnashed Kiba's teeth again and killed him in the wind. Kazama was naturally not to be outdone, so he immediately unleashed his 10 Tails body power. It's a pity that the power of the 10 Tails body is awesome. But in the face of this overwhelming fire, Fengjian was still beaten and retreated. Moreover, these different fires are not one kind of different fires, but the 23 kinds of different fires. Naturally, it is very powerful. At this time, Yuhi Lianyahuo saw that the wind fell into the lower wind, so he immediately sneered at the wind. How is it, little Misty? Have you seen our ability now? Will you dare to continue to control us in the future? Hee, I can control you as I want to control you in the wind. Do you really think I'm asking me for a shit-eating child? At this time, Kazama gave an order, and once again cast the full-body Susanoo. This Susanoo's armor on his own 10 Tails body. Then he easily blocked the attack of Yuhi Lotus Karma and other strange fires. What? How is this possible? Your strength has been greatly reduced now, but you are still able to fight against all our strange fires. That Diyan and other strange fires were immediately shocked. Chapter 386 Conquer the Flames Again. Hee, of course. Seeing the shock of Yuhi Lianyahuo and others, Kazama immediately sneered. Then he said to them proudly again, I tell you, now my trick is that Prestige Susanoo, others Prestige Susanoo are all Kyubi, 9 Tails, and I am directly 10 Tails now, look. How arrogant and domineering you are. Hee, what about the pretentious Susanoo, in front of the 23 kinds of strange fires like us, who cares what Susanoo is not Susanoo, in short, it's rubbish, it's just a scumbag. At this moment, Yuhi Lotus Karma and the others let out a roar, and the 23 different fires instantly turned into tens of thousands of flames. Once again, Kazama's current majestic Susanoo burned all over his body. I'll tell you the little stray hairs in the wind. As the saying goes, 2 fists are invincible to 4 hands. No matter how powerful you are, how can you alone beat our endless strange fires? If you want to have more people than me, wow, I like to have more people than others in the wind. You must know that Kazama is now an infinite chakra physique. Therefore, in his few face-to-face efforts, he used tens of thousands of clones. At this time, with the appearance of these clones, Yuhi Lianyahuo and others were naturally shocked. But then Yuhi Lianyahuo sneered again and said in the wind, I said about you, you little bastard, now your majestic Susanoo is not my opponent, but you still separate the number of mere numbers. 10,000 clones, can you beat me with just your clones? Hehe, these avatars alone may not be able to beat you, but now in front of my infinite chakra, these avatars of mine can also use the prestige Susanoo. What? How is this possible? Words, Yuhi Lotus Karma was taken aback again. At this time, he didn't wait for that Yuhi Lotus Karma to react to what was going on. The scenery immediately made these tens of thousands of clones directly cast the 10 tails body. Then Susanoo was cast, with the appearance of tens of thousands of majestic beards. Even the entire so-called different dimension was shaken by the earthquake. At this time, Yuhi Lianyahuo scolded and roared towards the wind again, killing him. At this time, the wind also immediately gave an order, and let his tens of thousands of clones fight with those strange fires. After a few face-to-face efforts in the street, these strange fires were bruised all over. At this time, the system rushed to Fengjian and said, I said Fengjian, now you don't want to kill too much, and beat all these strange fires into nothingness. Then there is no way for you to regain Amen again. Hehe, of course I know this. Hearing the system's words, Kazama immediately nodded with a smile. After all, Kazama is not a fool, so how could Kazama not know what to do and what not to do? Therefore, Fengjian is now between 3 and 5 and 2, and immediately uses his super powerful ability. After a few face-to-face efforts, the 23 kinds of strange fires that had been beaten to death by himself had to be swallowed into the body again. At this time, with the re-engulfment of this strange fire, these strange fires also immediately understood that they had been bewitched before. Chapter 387 All generations of cage-level masters are trapped. That's why he resisted against his master, the wind. This immediately made them angry. So these people hurriedly said to Fengjian, I said Big Brother Fengjian, we were wrong, we were really wrong, we really shouldn't pretend to force you in front of you, so please leave us alone. Quote. Hehe, of course this is no problem. Hearing the words of these people, Fengjian immediately smiled and nodded at him. Because Fengjian knows these 23 kinds of different fires, it is not really to betray himself. Therefore, Fengjian is not that stingy person, so it is naturally impossible for Fengjian to really be angry with these people. Then the wind again said to the Jinglian demon fire, I said Jinglian demon fire, although I say that your strength is not as good as this Emperor Yan, but since you can burn down the space, I hope to use your ability. Destroy this space. Hehe, of course this is no problem. Hearing Fengyan's instructions, the Jinglian demon fire made a face-to-face effort. His own unique ability that was immediately displayed. Was easy to burn Otsutsuki Ashiki's alien space to nothingness. At this time, Kazama originally thought that since he had burned this different dimension into nothingness, then you can leave this different dimension seriously. But what Fengjian did not expect was that now this different space was burned into nothingness. There was another space, which was actually a space within a space, which surprised Fengjian. This really annoyed the wind. Because the scenery secretly hates himself for being played by this Otsutsuki style. At this time, the pure lotus demon fire rushed into the wind again and said, I said, Master, now you don't need to be so angry, it is easy for me to burn down the space, so no matter how many spaces this Otsutsuki Ashiki creates, in my opinion, it is useless, as long as I do it, let alone one space, even 100,000, I can easily destroy it. Really? Hearing the words of Jinglian Yaohuo, Fengjian was naturally overjoyed. I said, Big Brother Kazama, I hope you will remove that word, because what I said is true. Okay, if that's the case, then I'll be rewarded after the fact. Okay, then I remember what you said. At this time, the Jinglian Yaohuo said, and immediately displayed his awesome ability again. After a few face-to-face efforts, they were killed in these spaces. But at this time, Fengjian thought that the Net Lotus Demon Fire could successfully destroy these spaces. Suddenly I found that in this space, there were all kinds of strange ninjas. At this time, Kazama took a closer look and found out that these ninjas were actually cage-level masters in all dynasties. And not 3 generations. These levels of the 4th generation are the most powerful 1st generation levels. This suddenly shocked the wind again. To know that in front of him now, but there are the 1st generation Hokage, the 1st generation Mizukage, the 1st generation Raikage, the 1st generation Tsuchikage, the 1st generation Kazekage. Were 5 1st generation cage level masters, which naturally made him extremely unbelievable. I said, all cage level masters, why are you in this different dimension now? So the Wind Room spoke to the crowd again. Chapter 388 I just want to hang you. This. Hearing Kazama's words, the first Hokage Senju Hashirama immediately looked towards Kazama. When he saw Fengyan's forehead guard, he immediately burst into laughter at Kazami. I said, this little brother, now you are in the same space as us. Could it be that you were also attacked by that Otsutsuki Ashiki? What? Could it be that you were also pulled into this other dimension by that Otsutsuki Ashiki? Yeah, this Otsutsuki Ashiki is a famous bastard. He proposed to have a real fight with us, so we all naively thought he was going to fight us fairly, but who knew that Otsutsuki Ashiki is a villainous villain. He competes with us on the surface, but secretly uses his unique space ninjutsu to absorb us all into this different space he created by himself. Quote. Although it is said that in this different space, there is no time, no concept of space, and we will not die, but we are trapped here forever. What is the difference between being killed? So we think about resistance all the time, but what we didn't expect is that our resistance now ends in failure, because this Otsutsuki Ashiki is really too powerful, we are not at all his opponent. It's really what a scholar can endure and what can't be endured. At this time, when Nakazama heard the words of the first Hokage, he felt annoyed in his heart. The first Hokage and all the previous Hokages, you don't have to worry, as long as I am here in the wind, then I will definitely smash the 2 Otsutsuki Ashiki to ashes. I said, little brother Kazama, do you have this ability? Hearing Kazama's words, the first Hokage immediately asked Kazama in confusion. Of course I have. My strength is enough to be on an equal footing with you, or even worse. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Otsutsuki Ashiki to imprison me here on a whim. What do you think? Well, not bad, what you said makes a lot of sense. At this time, the first Hokage heard Kazama's words and nodded happily. Then he asked Kazama again. I said, little brother Kazama, what do you think we should do now? It's very simple, just destroy this space directly, and then we escape from this space. Hee, I said, you are really a mother-in-law who sells melons and brags. At this time, before Kazama finished speaking, the first generation Tsuchikage immediately laughed at Kazama. Do you know how awesome and vast this space is? The strength of our 5 cage level masters is extraordinary, but even we haven't been able to find the exit of this different space, and you say we want to use this space. The other dimension is destroyed, you are clearly making us laugh and laugh. Quote. What, how is this possible? The first generation Tsuchikage to finish speaking, the wind was already a face-to-face kung fu, releasing the pure lotus demon fire. At this time, with the appearance of the pure lotus demon fire, this so-called different space was immediately burned into nothingness. At this time, as the space dissipated, Kazama and the others naturally appeared in front of the arrogant Otsutsuki Aikishi. At this time, Otsutsuki Ashiki never expected that his plan to imprison Kazama had failed so quickly. Naturally, that Otsutsuki Ashiki couldn't believe it, and it also shocked Otsutsuki Ashiki. After all, Otsutsuki Ashiki knew that Kazama's abilities were very strong. And the ability of these subordinates in the wind is also very awesome. If Kazama is united with his subordinates, then the strength of the wind will be even higher. So that Otsutsuki Ashiki immediately used all his powers to kill the wind. But what Kazama didn't expect was that now this Otsutsuki Ashiki is just a clone. And Otsutsuki Ashiki's body is dealing with Orochimaru and others in Otogakure village. Chapter 389 The leader of the hanging and shelling organization. Now that you don't have Funyun's help, I see what you can do with me. At this time, that Otsutsuki Ashiki trapped Kazama behind a different dimension. A face-to-face effort, he immediately launched an attack on Orochimaru and the others. But Otsutsuki's style underestimated the strength of Orochimaru and others. You must know that Orochimaru is not as powerful as him. But the village of Otogakure, where Orochimaru is now, is very strong. Not to mention Nagato, Akatsuki and other members. Just talking about the strength of Datonki Kagaya is enough to compete with Otsutsuki Ashiki. At this time, Otsutsuki thought that Otsutsuki Kagaya was seriously injured by the Ninja Union Army. Now her strength has definitely not recovered, so Otsutsuki Ashiki did not take Otsutsuki Kagaya seriously in the first place. But she never expected it. Now, as soon as he shot, this Otsutsuki Kagaya immediately opened the Sharingan of 9 Tomo's reincarnation. This Commander Otsutsuki Ashiki was shocked. Then Otsutsuki Ashiki resisted Otsutsuki Kagaya's attack. Otsutsuki Kagaya again. I said you are a traitor, you must know that you are the princess of our Otsutsuki clan, but you, a lowly servant, gave up the very noble identity of our Datongmu clan for the sake of the earth. Unbearable. Don't give me nonsense, I tell you that no matter how noble the Otsutsuki family is, I will not tolerate the Otsutsuki family killing innocent people indiscriminately. Hee, I said Kagaya, now you really like to be arrogant and domineering, okay, since you don't allow the Otsutsuki clan to kill innocent people, then I will represent the Otsutsuki clan to smash your corpse into thousands of pieces and turn your bones into ashes. Okay, I'd like to see if you have this ability. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya was also a face-to-face kung fu, and immediately displayed various powerful abilities such as all-killing ash bones and Byakugan Kamui. A few face-to-face fights, they followed Otsutsuki in an indistinguishable fight. At this time, although the strength of Datongmui's style is not weak, but compared to Datongmu Kagaya, he is somewhat weaker. Because the Datongmu Kagaya absorbed the power of the Ten Tails body. So now his strength and the current Samsara Sharingan have long surpassed this Otsutsuki Ashiki. At this time, after Otsutsuki Ashiki fought this Otsutsuki Kagaya for dozens of rounds, he was very angry. After that, Otsutsuki turned his head and thought to himself, this Otsutsuki Kagaya is so powerful, if I fight her like this again, she will kill her in all likelihood. If that's the case, then I might as well get one. Tune the tiger away from the mountain. Thinking of this, that Otsutsuki Ashiki immediately feigned defeat, turned and ran away. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya didn't know Otsutsuki Ashiki's tricks. So he immediately flew towards that Otsutsuki Ashiki and killed him. At this time, all the members of Otsutsuki Ashiki's subordinate shell organization came to Otogakure village. This is what Otsutsuki Ashiki had planned in advance. That was Otsutsuki Kagaya, who was led away by himself, and then let the members of his own shell group come to raise the village of Otogakure to the ground. Otsutsuki Ashiki knew that none of the 5 great powers were as powerful as himself, but this village of Otogakure was an exception. Chapter 390 Akatsuki vs Shell Organization. Now, if you want to destroy the 5 kingdoms, you must first kill everyone in Otogakure village. At this time, Akatsuki members such as Orochimaru and Nagato originally wanted to help Otsutsuki Kagaya hunt down Otsutsuki Ashiki. But they never expected that this Otsutsuki Ashiki would actually do this. So the Orochimaru, Nagato, and Akatsuki members immediately fought against the members of the Shell organization. You must know that the members of this Shell organization are very arrogant and powerful. But in front of Orochimaru and Akatsuki members, they are still weak. After all, Orochimaru is not only Nagato with the power of Rinnegan Six Paths. Also has that 107 Uchiha Itachi, Kamui Obito, Demolition Expert Deidara, Timeless Artist Sasori, Koala Ghost Shark and many more. Therefore, even if the members of this Shell organization are arrogant and powerful, they will not be able to make any waves in front of Akatsuki. Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, the members of the Shell organization were defeated by Akatsuki, Orochimaru and others. And at this time, Orochimaru and others thought they could take the opportunity to wipe out all the members of this Shell organization. But suddenly saw that Otsutsuki Ashiki actually made a comeback again. This suddenly shocked the hearts of Orochimaru and the others. Know that they can ignore the shell tissue though. But they dared not take Otsutsuki Ashiki in their eyes. After all, this Otsutsuki Ashiki is Rinnegan with 6 Tomo, and his strength has already surpassed them. And at this time they thought that Totongmu Kagaya would help them deal with this Otsutsuki Ashiki. Now there is Otsutsuki Ashiki on the branch, and there is no Otsutsuki Kagaya at all. This suddenly surprised them, and then Orochimaru secretly said that it was not good. Could it be that Otsutsuki Kagaya was beheaded by Otsutsuki Ashiki? Thinking of this, Orochimaru was naturally shocked. Although he knew that Otsutsuki Kagaya was his own enemy earlier. But then this Otsutsuki Kagaya has been dedicated to good, has become his ally. So now Orochimaru is naturally very worried about Otsutsuki Kagaya's situation. So as soon as Otsutsuki Ashiki came here again, Orochimaru pointed at Otsutsuki Ashiki's nose and cursed. You son of a bitch, where did you get our comrade Otsutsuki Kagaya? Hee, that's really making me laugh. You little bastards are also qualified to be called brothers and sisters to our Otsutsuki clan. Otsutsuki Ashiki did not take Orochimaru and others into his eyes at all. Therefore, seeing Orochimaru dared to curse at him, Otsutsuki Ashiki immediately waved his hand and knocked the Orochimaru to the ground. And Orochimaru though knows that Otsutsuki Ashiki is powerful. But he never expected that he would be powerless in front of Otsutsuki Ashiki now. This completely refreshed his worldview, and it was something he never expected. I tell you, just because you are not qualified to fight against me. Otsutsuki Ashiki probed with one hand and immediately disabled that Orochimaru. And Otsutsuki Kagaya was not actually killed by Otsutsuki Ashiki, but was trapped in a distant fantasy by Otsutsuki Ashiki. Otsutsuki Ashiki knows that Otsutsuki Kagaya is awesome, but she is not very good at fending off demonic illusion. Chapter 391 Hanging Otsutsuki Ashiki. Therefore, Otsutsuki Ashiki used his unique demonic illusion to temporarily trap Otsutsuki Kagaya. I tell you little bastards, now you dare to provoke me Otsutsuki Ashiki, then I will tear you all to pieces and smash your bones to ashes. I don't care what Akatsuki, Otogakur village you are, anyway you are trash in front of me. Hee, it's a pity that you are also trash in front of me. Just when Otsutsuki Ashiki was about to completely kill Orochimaru and others. Suddenly, he saw a wave of fluctuations in the space, and then the figure of the wind immediately appeared in front of him. What? How is this possible? As soon as he saw Kazama's sudden appearance, Otsutsuki's expression was immediately shocking in his heart. Impossible, I obviously pulled you into a different dimension, how could you come out again? Hee, I also tell you, is there anything impossible in front of my wind room? As long as I think about it, everything is possible. Although Kazama did cry a lot in the other dimension, Kazama didn't bother to explain so much to this Otsutsuki Ashiki. You must know that Fengjian has experienced 3 days and 3 nights in that different dimension before. But in this real space, it's still a white horse, and only a moment's effort has passed. So Kazama knew that as long as he could return, he would be able to help Orochimaru and the others to resist the attack of this Otsutsuki Ashiki. At this time, Otsutsuki Ashiki saw that Kazama was so powerful, and immediately became angry. Because he was a member of Otsutsuki Ashiki's clan, he didn't take earthlings like Kazama in his eyes at all. But he never expected that this earthling in the wind would ruin his good deeds one after another. So Otsutsuki Ashiki made a face-to-face effort and immediately started the Rinnegan of the pair of 6 tomo, whistling towards the wind. At this time, Kazama had already prepared for Otsutsuki Ashiki's attack. Therefore, he immediately exerted Rinnegan coercion, preparing to pull some distance from Otsutsuki Ashiki first. Look at the strength of this Otsutsuki Ashiki. But at this time, the wind was totally unexpected. Now his Rinnegan coercion didn't do any damage to Otsutsuki Ashiki. Instead, Otsutsuki Ashiki disappeared without a trace. At this time, the wind room had not yet reacted to what was going on. That Otsutsuki Ashiki came quietly behind Kazama's forehead, which surprised Kazama. You must know that Kazama has already opened the reincarnation Sharingan of 9 tomo. It stands to reason that no matter what kind of instant technique, Kazama is able to see clearly the course of action of people in the future. But now this Otsutsuki Ashiki's course of action is completely incomprehensible to Kazama. At this time, Otsutsuki Ashiki also found that Kazama couldn't see through his own attack, so he sneered immediately. Then he raised his palm and hit the wind behind him. If it were an ordinary person, I am afraid that a single face-to-face effort would be beaten and the corpse would be separated. After all, Otsutsuki Ashiki's attack may seem ordinary, but it actually contains a very terrifying power. But now, the body of the wind has the strongest defense against volcanic stone flames. Therefore, Kazama blocked the attack of Otsutsuki Ashiki with a face-to-face effort. Chapter 392 Crazy Hanging Datong Wood 1 Style. Although it seems that the wind has fallen into a disadvantage now. But Otsutsuki Ashiki couldn't hurt Kazama either. This suddenly made Otsutsuki Ashiki furious. Originally, Otsutsuki Ashiki wanted to kill Kazama directly. But he never expected that Kazejian's defense was so powerful now. This immediately shocked Otsutsuki Ashiki. At this time, when Kazama saw Otsutsuki Ashiki's space technique, it seemed to be even more powerful than himself. So Kazama immediately prepared to cast the Imperial Palace of Heaven. Plan to inhale this Otsutsuki Ashiki into my own alien space, and then hang up Otsutsuki Ashiki with full firepower, so as not to affect the innocent. But Kazama didn't expect that Otsutsuki Ashiki's space technique actually suppressed his own heavenly Imperial Palace. Otsutsuki Ashiki, his own heavenly Imperial Palace had no way to successfully cast it. Hehe, I'm telling you Xiao Za Mao, don't think that you use the power of 10 tails to open the Sharingan of 9 tomo's reincarnation, and you can be awesome in front of me. My Otsutsuki's accomplishments in space art are actually you are comparable to a bastard. I have mastered this ultimate space ninjutsu from the day I was born, so a little bastard like you can't be my opponent at all. Quote. At this time, while Otsutsuki Ashiki was talking, he used the space distortion method again and killed him towards Kazama. At this time, even if Kazama had the strongest defense, he felt the pain of his body being torn apart by that space. It seems that this is the ability of Otsutsuki Ashiki's master. The technique of space tearing is really awesome, and it is really terrifying. Fengjian thought, and sneered in his heart. Although it is said that Kazama can't do anything about this Otsutsuki style for a while now. Is not afraid of this Otsutsuki Ashiki at all. After all, Kazama has a more powerful trick than space ninjutsu, and that is the different fire. Therefore, when Fengjian probed with one hand, he immediately released Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Void Swallowing Flame, and Deity Flame. At this time, once these 4 different fire spirits appeared, the world was shocked. Even the distorted space was requenched by these 4 different fires. Afterwards, the fire spirits transformed from the 4 different fires: Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Void Swallowing Flame, and Emperor Yan, immediately surrounded Fengjian. Otsutsuki's style was never expected. Now Kazami's body strength is not only very powerful, but also very powerful. Even the strange fire summoned by the wind is so awesome, so powerful. This has greatly refreshed the worldview of this Otsutsuki Ashiki. Then Otsutsuki Ashiki turned into anger and pointed at Kazama's nose. "You little bastard, what kind of sorcery are you using now? As far as I know, there is no such thing as ninjutsu in this world. Tell me, what are these flames?" "Hehe, you don't need what these strange fires are, you just need to know that these fires are for you. If you want to kill me, well, then I'll let you die with me." Seeing Kazama want to kill himself, Otsutsuki Ashiki sneered immediately. So he immediately prepared to escape, but he didn't wait for him to react. Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Void Swallowing Fire, and Emperor Yan's face-to-face skills immediately blocked Otsutsuki Ashiki's backpath. Chapter 393 Kill Datong Wood. Otsutsuki Ashiki originally wanted to use his space art to escape. But who knows that the Jinglian Demon Fire has the ability to burn space. Therefore, in one face-to-face effort, the alien space created by Otsutsuki Ashiki was directly burned to ashes. This suddenly made Otsutsuki Ashiki curse inwardly. But now is not the time for him to curse, because these 4 strange fires have pierced through Otsutsuki Ashiki's body. That Otsutsuki Ashiki was 7 orifices bleeding. Knowing that he will die soon. So Otsutsuki Ashiki turned his heart and cast a strange mark directly. Then Otsutsuki Ashiki's body exploded and died in an instant. If he were an ordinary person, he would definitely be exploded into nothingness by this Otsutsuki's momentary self-destruction. Pity that now Otsutsuki Ashiki is facing a powerful strange fire, and it is a fire spirit transformed by a strange fire. So even if these 4 strange fires were self-detonated into nothingness by Otsutsuki Ashiki. But it didn't take long for them to reunite again. At this time, Kazama saw that the culprit, Otsutsuki Ashiki, had blown up and died. So he rushed to that Otsutsuki Kagaya fell into the illusion. And then cast his own unique pupil technique of Samsara Sharingan to help Otsutsuki Kagaya get out of the demonic illusion space. Seeing Kagaya saving himself again, Otsutsuki Kagaya was naturally very grateful. Afterwards, Kagaya also told Otsutsuki Kagaya that Otsutsuki Ashiki was killed by himself. This suddenly made Otsutsuki Kagaya's heart even more shocking. After all, she had fought Otsutsuki Ashiki for hundreds of rounds before. Otsutsuki Kagaya knows the power of Otsutsuki Ashiki very well. She never expected Kazama's current strength to be so powerful, and she could actually kill Otsutsuki Ashiki. "You 2 dog men and women." At this time Kagaya was talking to him Otsutsuki Kagaya. Suddenly, a figure came to them. At this time, as soon as Otsutsuki Kagaya saw the figure of the person coming, he immediately stepped back in fright. Seeing Otsutsuki Kagaya's current performance, Kagaya was puzzled. After all, Otsutsuki Kagaya was in his eyes, but the real ancestor of the ninja world. Who the hell would scare Otsutsuki Wei like this? Immediately sneered and said to Fengjian, "Little devil, I am the ancestor of Otsutsuki's family, and Otsutsuki Ashiki is my direct disciple. You 2 bastards actually take my place. If the direct disciples are killed, I am bound to smash your corpses into 10,000 pieces today, and smash your bones into ashes." At this time, as soon as the voice of the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family fell, he was immediately relieved of a strange exercise. Towards Kagaya and Otsutsuki Kagaya and killed him. At this time, Kazama thought that he was now unmatched in the Hokage world. What if the head of the Otsutsuki family came? So Kazama immediately greeted the attack of the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. Prepare to absorb the attack of the ancestor of this Otsutsuki family and use it as your own. Because Kazama knew that the head of the Otsutsuki family was very powerful. Kazama thought that if he could absorb his ninjutsu, then his strength would be even better. But what Kazama didn't expect was the strength of this Otsutsuki ancestor's attack now. Chapter 394 Otsutsuki, the head of the family, descends. The shit has far exceeded the ability of the wind to bear. Now Funyun's Fenju system has not transformed this attack. Was even knocked to the ground by the attack of Otsutsuki's main family. Him and Otsutsuki Kagaya, which surprised Na Kagaya. At this time, the head of the Otsutsuki clan, when he saw Kazama actually take the initiative to greet his attack, immediately sneered. Xiaoza Mao, did I say that your brain was kicked by the donkey? You really make me laugh when you see my attack and don't dodge it. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya also rushed to Kagaya and said, You don't know Kagaya, the strength of this Otsutsuki clan leader is very superb, very powerful, even if you can absorb all the ninjutsu in the world, but you can't absorb the attack of the head of the Otsutsuki clan no matter what. Just as Otsutsuki Kagaya was talking, Feng Jian suddenly felt that some indescribable changes had taken place in his body. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya was the same as Hefeng, and his eyes also changed. So that Otsutsuki Kagaya felt bad, and hurriedly said to the wind again, The ancestor of Otsutsuki's family is a serious evil spirit. The ninjutsu he practiced is the double cultivation technique, and now we have fallen into his spell. If we can't get rid of the body immediately, then we will definitely die. Damn, it really pissed me off. Fengjian saw himself beating geese all year round, but now he was pecked by geese. How could Fengjian endure it? So Kazama hurriedly cast Yomatsu Hirasaka and brought himself and Otsutsuki Kagaya to his own different space. Prepare to temporarily avoid the attack of the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family, and by the way, think about how to deal with the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. This time it was just as Otsutsuki Kagaya said. And Otsutsuki Kagaya have all fallen into the double cultivation secret method of the ancestors of Otsutsuki's main family. Cause Kagaya and Otsutsuki Kagaya's body has been out of control. Originally, Kazama had no unreasonable thoughts about Otsutsuki Kagaya. But now Otsutsuki Kagaya is in Kagaya's eyes, just like that stunner, making Kagaya unable to stop. Sanakazama immediately began to sway with Otsutsuki Kagaya. After a second, with the wind shivering, he hurriedly got up and tidied up his clothes. At this time, Kazama never dreamed that he would be able to have such a relationship with Otsutsuki Kagaya, the ancestor of the ninja world. And after this incident, that Otsutsuki Kagaya's feelings for him Kagaya also changed. After all, the two of them already have a relationship between a man and a woman, and they are still raw rice and cooked rice. At this time, Kagaya immediately said to Otsutsuki Kagaya embarrassedly, Don't worry, I am a man of the sky, I will definitely be responsible for you, and now I will kill this ancestor of Otsutsuki's family. But the head of the Otsutsuki clan is very powerful, how are you going to deal with him? Don't worry, soldiers will stop you, and water will flood the earth. As soon as Kazama's voice fell, he immediately cast Yomatsu Hirasaka again and came to the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. At this time, Otsutsuki Kagaya thought that Kagaya would definitely die by his own hands, but who knows, Kagaya is still alive now. Chapter 395 The first stop of the journey of all worlds, One Piece. However, the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family didn't mind at all, because Kazama was already a dead person in his eyes. So the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family immediately sneered at the wind. Kaze, you're so fucking lucky, it's a pity that you won't have such good luck in the future. Hehe, a mere Otsutsuki ancestor, do you think I will be afraid of you in the wind? At this time, Kazama looked with one hand and immediately summoned 23 kinds of different fires, all of which were killed towards the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. The ancestors of Otsutsuki's family didn't pay attention to the strange fire in the wind, but when he saw that the fire in the wind was so powerful, he was shocked. Otsutsuki Kagaya, who was hiding in the different space, and used it as his shield. Kazama was shocked when he saw it, and hurriedly stopped Yuo's attack. And Kagaya never expected that this Otsutsuki Kagaya was hidden in a different dimension by himself. The Otsutsuki family still managed to catch the whereabouts. So Kazama hurriedly used the hands of the sky to switch places with Otsutsuki Kagaya, and successfully attacked the ancestor of Otsutsuki's family, severely wounding him. Did not expect at this time was that although the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family was seriously injured, he still did not give up. Instead, with lightning speed, Otsutsuki Kagaya who was on the side was severely injured. Xiaozamao in the wind, I admit that you are indeed very powerful. Your strength has exceeded my imagination, but if you dare to kill me, your concubine Otsutsuki Kagaya will not survive, haha. The ancestor of Otsutsuki's main family was preparing to escape while talking. It's a pity that now Kazama has murdered the ancestor of this Otsutsuki family. Therefore, the effort of one photo immediately detonated the 23 kinds of strange fires. At this time, the power of the explosion of the 23 kinds of different fires was very huge. Even this space fluctuated. At this time, the scarred Otsutsuki head of the family made a face-to-face effort. Immediately escaped into the different space. Kazama originally took advantage of the situation to hunt down the head of the Otsutsuki family. After all, this Otsutsuki family head hurt Otsutsuki Kagaya. But Kazama was very worried about Otsutsuki Kagaya's injury, so he hurried to Otsutsuki Kagaya's side. Not that Otsutsuki Kagaya infused the flame of life. This kept Otsutsuki Kagaya's injury from getting worse. After that, Kazama rushed to Orochimaru and the others who were on the side and gave orders. Now you heal Otsutsuki Kagaya immediately, he will fully recover soon, and now I have to kill this Otsutsuki head of the family. As ordered. Then the wind also immediately flew into the different space. With a flash of white light in front of Fengyan's eyes, he suddenly found himself in a castle. When Fengyan was wondering where this was, the sound of the system sounded again in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for coming to the world of One Piece. One Piece's world. Hearing the system's words, Kazama was both surprised and delighted. Host, because the ancestor of Otsutsuki's family arrived first than you, in this One Piece world, the strength of the ancestor of Otsutsuki's family is several times higher than yours. If the host wants to defeat the ancestor of Otsutsuki's family, he must unite with the One Piece world. Heroes from all walks of life work together to deal with the ancestors of the Otsutsuki family. Chapter 396 First Battle Pirate. I have never been to the world of One Piece. Since this is the case, in order to defeat the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family, I can only unite with many protagonists in the world of One Piece to deal with the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. Hearing the introduction of the system, Kazami immediately nodded. But at this moment, the castle where Kazama was located suddenly shook. This suddenly surprised the wind in the heart. At this time, everyone in the surrounding castle immediately fell into chaos. At this time, the wind hurriedly flew out and came outside. Only then did he discover that what he was in was not a castle, but a huge ship. Because this ship is very luxurious, Kazama mistook it for a castle. And at this time, dozens of shells in the distance had already killed the place where Kazami was. Are these people pirates? It seems that my luck is really good. I just came to the world of the Pirate King and encountered the attack of the pirates. Thinking of this, Fengjan smiled faintly. Because he has long wanted to use his ninjutsu to make a breakthrough in this One Piece world. And he also wanted to see if the abilities of these pirates were high or low. Who is more powerful than the ninjutsu master in the Hokage world? Sweden water style, water formation wall. After a face-to-face effort, the wind immediately cast a powerful ring-shaped water formation wall. Directly blocked the attack of these shells. What? How is this possible? At this time, the pirates who attacked the ship where Kazama was on. They were surprised to find that their shells were actually blocked by the inexplicable seawater. So these pirates immediately reported the incident to their pirate captain in a panic. The big thing is bad, Miss Arita. Now, around the merchant ship we are attacking, for some reason, a wall made of seawater suddenly appeared, blocking our artillery attack. What? Exploding me too. That fat and ferocious female pirate of Alrita, upon hearing that her shells did not destroy the merchant ship. Immediately, she was furious and furious. So he immediately ordered his subordinates to kill the ship where the wind was located. At this time, the guests on the ship thought that they would definitely be buried in the sea. But they didn't expect that Kazejian was alone now, and he saved all the guests of their ship. This immediately made them happy. It also really made them feel special doubts about the origin, identity and ability of the wind. After all, in their cognition, no one can manipulate the power of this sea. So this kind of person immediately gathered around Fengjian and kept complimenting Fengjian. At this time, Kazama's compliments from everyone could only be a polite nod. After all, now that he came to the world of One Piece, he didn't want to accept everyone's compliments here, but to quickly find the Monchiti Luffy who dreamed of becoming the Pirate King since he was a child. At this time, the men of the Yarita female pirate were already scrambling to kill the ship where Kazama was. Run, there are monsters. But then these vicious pirates all ran out of the kitchen in a flash. Chapter 397 Capture Luffy. This suddenly made the wind in the heart greatly puzzled. So Kazama immediately came to the kitchen, and even saw that Monchiti Luffy, the protagonist of One Piece, had just woken up from a wooden barrel. Because Luffy's original ship was washed into ruins by the sea. So Luffy lay in the barrel, ready to float to wherever. This suddenly made the wind burst into laughter. At this time, Luffy has the ability of Rubber Man because he devoured the devil fruit. Therefore, it is easy to deal with the subordinates who deal with the Aurita female pirate. At this time, Kazama also knew that Luffy, as the protagonist of One Piece, will be very powerful in the future. So Kazama is now in order to completely defeat the ancestor of the Otsutsuki family. Then he has to disarm Luffy's power, and the power of Luffy's future companions. So Kazama immediately came to Luffy's side. At this time, Luffy didn't know Kazama, and he didn't know that Kazama came from the Hokage world. So he immediately asked in the air of doubt. Where is this place? Why am I here? Have you forgotten? You floated there for days and nights before being picked up on the boat. Yes, I am sleepy, but how do you know that I've been floating at sea for days and nights? Seeing that Kazama was so clear about his own affairs, Luffy was naturally puzzled. This one. Facing Luffy's question at this time, Kazama wanted to tell him the truth. But then Kazama thought again, and now he is someone who has traveled from the Hokage world to the One Piece world. Although I say that I am very familiar with the plot of One Piece world. But Luffy, as a two-dimensional person, how can he immediately exist as a traverser? Maybe he will treat himself as a monster. Thinking of this, Kazama immediately rushed to Luffy and said, You don't need to know how I understand your business. In short, I know that you are a man who wants to be the Pirate King, and it happens that my dream is the same as yours, and I hope to become a Pirate King. One Piece. Then since this is the case, the two of us should be companions and go to the Great Voyage route to find treasures. Of course it's fine. To be honest, I'm just looking for a companion. Luffy is a person who likes to make friends. Therefore, when he heard the words of the wind now, he was immediately overjoyed. Hee, you two little bastards, now the two of you are still pretending to be here, saying that you want to become the man of the One Piece, it really makes me laugh and laugh. And at this moment, a bloated, vicious-looking ant fell from the sky with a bang. It smashed in front of Kazama and Luffy. And because Kazama possessed that super-perceptive power, it was said that he had already noticed the trace of this girl thief Alrita. So he didn't show any panic. I tell you Arita, I advise you to be obedient, and give up your big boat to us, otherwise I'll make you bruised and bruised. Haha, it really makes me laugh. At this time, Nile Rita originally wanted to burn Kazama and Luffy, the two people who rebelled against him, to ashes. But he never expected that this little devil in the wind would dare to humiliate himself now. Chapter 398 Hang and Beat the Female Pirate. So Nile Rita immediately gave up the attack on Luffy and came to deal with Kazama. It's a pity that this area is not the huge water formation wall from before, but it was cast by the wind. Otherwise, even if she is given 10,000 courage, the tower will not dare to be presumptuous in front of the wind. At this time, in the face of Nile Rita's crazy attack, Kazama can be said to deal with it calmly. And Kazama can knock down Alrita at any time, but Kazama wants to see how strong this Alrita is and whether there is any special ability for him to absorb and utilize. That's why Kazama didn't defeat Alrita in an instant. But at this time, Yarita's subordinates saw that Kazama was beaten by Yarita and retreated, so they thought Kazama was not his boss's opponent, so they all laughed at Kazama. Little devil, could it be that your head was kicked by a donkey? How dare you fight against our leader? Or is it that you were drunk before and haven't woken up yet? See clearly that this is our female pirate, and it is the most beautiful and elegant female pirate leader we have ever met. What? Laugh at me too. Just then, Yarita's subordinates, selling melons and boasting to the queen of Yarita. Luffy immediately grinned. I said you, auntie, you look like this, and you have the face to tell your subordinates that you are the most beautiful woman in this sea. I said, haven't you ever seen what is the most beautiful woman? I'm mad at me too. Alrita hated people saying she was ugly the most. Although she is indeed ugly, she will never tolerate others laughing at her. So Nile Rita was immediately furious. Then a face-to-face kung fu, immediately waving the wolf Kiba stick, Zoro slapped Luffy with a bruised face. You must know that this Luffy has the ability of a rubber man. So even though Luffy was beaten by Alrita, his nose was bruised. But in fact, Luffy didn't suffer any damage. And just as Luffy was about to counterattack, Kazami immediately blocked his way. Just a female pirate, just leave it to me. Hee hee, you little bastard dares to underestimate me, you are really mad at me. Alrita didn't take Kazama and Luffy in his eyes at all. Therefore, in a face-to-face kung fu, he waved his wolf Kiba again and killed it towards the wind. At this time, Kazama blocked the attack of this Alrita female pirate with just one finger. Then a slap passed, and Nile Rita was fanned from the boat to the sea. Don't say that Arita did not expect this sudden change. Even the pirates and Luffy around there were completely unexpected. After all, the figure of this Alrita female pirate is particularly huge. Its weight is less than 500 pounds. But the seemingly thin person in the wind, but with a gentle wave of his hand, he sent the Alrita flying hundreds of meters away. Why didn't this shock the crowd? At this time, the Arita female pirate also never expected that the power of the wind was so huge. Then he secretly exclaimed, "This is clearly the power of the devil. Little devil, could it be that you devoured the devil fruit and gained super strange power?" The female pirate Arita immediately asked Kazama with a terrified face. Chapter 399 He grabbed the female pirate's ship at the beginning. Is there any magic fruit among devil fruits? I really don't know about this. Don't give me a fucking smack. At this time, Nile Rita didn't know that Kazama actually came from the Hokage world. I don't know that Kazama has never devoured any devil fruit. Now the strange power in the wind is all his own strength. Then Nile Rita knew that she was not Kazama's opponent, so she hurriedly ordered her subordinates to kill Kazama. I tell you little babe, don't think that you can act in front of me because of your strength. No matter how powerful you are, there are only 2 of you now, and there are hundreds of my subordinates. I see what you do. Fight them. Hee hee, if there are more than people, then I will never admit defeat. What? Before Nile Rita could react to what was going on, Kazama immediately cast the Mokuden wood-style clone technique. After a face-to-face effort, thousands of Kazama's clones appeared here. This scared Nile Rita slumped on the ground. I said, "You little bastard, do you still eat the devil fruit with the ability to clone? You can still clone. You don't care if I have eaten any devil fruit. In short, now I need your wealth and pirate ship. Let me and Luffy go on that great voyage, otherwise I will be rude to you." Not bad. At this time, Luffy also immediately echoed the road. Although it is said that Kazama and Luffy will not kill and snatch the gold and silver jewelry. But they also know this Arita, the notorious female pirate in this area. Therefore, it is reasonable to say that robbing this person's ships and supplies. At this time, Nile Rita saw that Kazama and Luffy were both so awesome and so powerful. In particular, the wind rune was so powerful that it defied the sky, which immediately made Nile Rita terrified. In desperation, this Arita could only agree to the request with a smile on her face. He gave up his pirate ship and the gold-silver jewelry on it to Kazama. At this time, when Luffy saw that Kazama was so capable, he immediately admired him. After all, Luffy had worked hard before, and only then did he get a broken ship. But the broken ship was beaten to rubble because of the tsunami earlier. Now that he saw how easy it was for Kazama, he rushed into the hands of the Yarita female pirate and obtained such a large pirate ship. There are even countless gold-silver jewelry, and Luffy naturally admires Kazama very much in his heart. Then Na Fengjian rushed again and said, "Big brother, now you have not only saved me, but you are even willing to be my companion, and you have also brought us so many gold-silver jewels and such a big ship. Pirate ship, but I don't know your name yet, don't I know your surname?" "My name is Sanada Kazama, you will call me Kazama in the future." "Okay Kazama bro." Because Luffy admires Kazama very much, he took the initiative to recognize Kazama as his eldest brother. "Luffy, since our goal is to become the Pirate King and go to that great voyage, then we must find more companions." "No problem." For Kazama's proposal, Luffy naturally agrees with both hands, because Luffy's current thoughts are exactly the same between Hefeng. Chapter 400 Rescue Sauron. But then Luffy focused on Kazama again and asked, "I said Kazama bro, where are we going to find a companion now?" "It's very simple, we're going to that naval town now." "What? Go to Hyjin town? Where are you going and what are you doing? You must know that the navy is the enemy of our pirates." At this time, when Luffy heard about Fengyan's destination, he was naturally shocked. "It's very simple, because there is a so-called bounty hunter Sauron detained in the naval base. The strength of this Sauron is also very powerful and very awesome. Since we are going to that great sea route, since we want to be one piece, then it's definitely not enough for just the two of us, that's why we're looking for this Zoro. But it seems to me that this Zoro is nothing more than that. He was actually caught by the navy." At this time, Luffy didn't know Sauron, so he heard that Sauron was actually caught by the navy, so he naturally thought that Soren's strength was nothing more than that. But Kazama knew that the reason why Sauron was caught by the navy was actually Soren's volition. Because in that naval base, there is a naval chief, Monka. And this Monka and his son were very brutal in the local area, and they were also particularly arrogant and domineering. This Sauron had a conflict with that Monka's son. Later, in order to protect the residents of the town, Sauron volunteered to be tied to the naval base by Namunka's son. People who want to use themselves to protect the entire town. But Sauron didn't know that this Monka and his son were both arrogant and domineering. How could they possibly keep their promise with this Sauron? Therefore, Monka's son had already started to secretly kill that Zoro. But at this time, Kazama and Luffy had already arrived at this naval base. Because Kazama is very familiar with One Piece's manga. So now he is very clear about the route of the Navy's base. Therefore, between 3 and 5 and 2, they immediately came to the naval base. When even saw the Zoro who was tied up with 5 flowers. At this time, Sauron had been tied to the wood for 3 days and 3 nights, but Sauron was still not afraid at all. As expected of Zoro, the swordsman of the three-sword style. He is really awesome, really powerful. Who are you? Zoro was shocked when he saw Kazama and Luffy, two strangers, came to him. And he still felt a powerful force in the wind. Although he couldn't say what this powerful force was. But Zoro really felt the pressure brought by the wind. We are here to save you, and we hope you can become our companions and become pirates together. What? Pirates? Laugh at me too. As soon as Zoro heard Luffy's words, he immediately laughed wildly. I said, you straw hat boy, don't you know who I am? Zoro? I am a famous pirate hunter. I specially take the heads of pirates in exchange for the bounty. You actually let me be you as your see the thief's comrade. Really makes me laugh. There are bad people and good people among pirates. I hope you don't make generalizations. Hearing Soren's ridicule, Luffy immediately spoke to Sauron solemnly. Okay, don't talk nonsense with me. If you really want me to be your companion, then you can give me my saber and get it back. Maybe you can agree to your request. And tangle with Luffy and Hefeng. Besides, his sword is in the naval castle, where the security is heavily guarded, so Zoro thought that the two of Luffy and Hefeng could not complete this task at all. But he didn't know that it would be easy for Kazama to regain the saber.